Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Little Craft Room podcast. My name's Nicola and I am the person who runs a Little Craft Room on many different social media sites, some of which you can find in my little banner below if you wanted to go and follow me on any of them. So yeah, it's episode 5. I'm not wearing a made item today because actually my kind of featured item, I don't know whether that's how I want to word it. Yeah, that is how I want to word it. It's actually not going to be a wearable item, but it's something that I've used a lot over the weekend. It is my Morwenna hot water bottle cover pattern. So this was actually the first pattern that I designed myself. It's the first pattern I ever wrote. It's one I was very proud of actually. But I was a little bit ill over the weekend. It's that time of the school year. All the kids have been there long enough. They've kind of touched every available surface. Everybody's bacteria is all swimming around. This is when teachers get colds. So I had the most disgusting cold on Saturday. It was a little bit annoying really because we had the bank holiday weekend. And I wanted to enjoy it, although enjoy seems like a bit of an odd choice of word, given that the reason we got the bank holiday weekend was because the Queen died. But I wanted to at least make the most of it, so it was a little bit annoying that I spent one day basically useless. At one point I actually sneezed so hard my ear popped, like really, really hard. I was genuinely worried I'd done some damage, but it was one of those things that I got most of it out of the way on Saturday. But this was gold on Saturday. This was worth its weight. It really was. So I thought actually now would be a good time to kind of show it. Yeah, it was not a fun weekend. It was not. Saturday I was pretty much useless. Sunday I kind of felt quite a bit better, although my ear still really hurt. And then by Monday I was okay enough to enjoy the one day that was still there. And that was the day that everybody was like, oh, let's all watch a funeral. So yeah, really fun weekend. But yes, so this is the Morwenna hot water bottle cover crochet pattern. I designed this, I think it was 2020 or 2021? I think it was 2021. Yes, it was during 2020 I designed it, and it was released in January 2021. As I said, it was the first pattern I ever wrote up, the first one I released. So it was a really exciting one. This is my baby a little bit. It was quite an exciting one. The yarn that I used for it, so the one I recommend for the pattern, is Shepjes Stone Washed. I think that's how you pronounce it, Shepjes. So it's the stone washed yarn in Moonstone as the main colour, and then this one is Blue Apatite or Apatite. I may have pronounced that wrong. And then this brown is the Boulder Opal. I did actually have some trouble getting these because, as I mentioned, I was designing this during lockdown, and I had a really clear image in my head of what colours I wanted. I knew exactly what colours I wanted, and I managed to get the kind of the creamy white and the blue quite easily. But this brown, this Boulder Opal, I remember looking in loads of places and nowhere seems to have it. I think everywhere was having kind of stock issues, transport issues, and it took me ages to get this colour. So I was really glad when I did. And I love the way these colours work together. So yeah, those are the 3 recommended colours. This yarn is a 78% cotton, 22% acrylic. Which for something as for something that's going to be very well used, very well carried, I wanted something that had a little bit of that kind of robustness. So the acrylic's quite useful, and then the cotton is nice to make it really soft and cuddly, because that's what you want out of a hot water bottle, really, isn't it? You want it to be something that you're quite happy to cozy up with. So in terms of why this was my first pattern, why I went for a hot water bottle cover, it really wasn't that deep. I had a hot water bottle that didn't have a cover. It's pretty much, that's kind of it, really. It's as boring as that. I just had one without a cover, and before that I was just wrapping it in towels, and it was really, really annoying. And I was having a look online for some hot water bottle cover patterns, and there were some beautiful ones online, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them, the bottles were pretty much sewn into the cover, and I don't know, most of the hot water bottle covers I'd ever used weren't like that. You could completely remove the hot water bottle if you wanted to, and that was kind of what I wanted for my cover, and I really struggled to find one. So in the end I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna make one. And it was a bit daunting, really, the idea of writing my own pattern for the first time, especially one that it didn't seem that many people were going for as well. You know, most of the stuff that I could find wasn't in a design like this, so it was a little bit like, am I making a bit of a mistake here? Is there a reason people haven't made them like this? But I went for it. It took a while, took a little longer than I thought. I was playing about with textures, and then I settled on this one. So this uses shell stitch as the main kind of texture for this pattern, and you can quite see that, you can quite clearly see that in the kind of the pops of the contrast colours. So yeah, I was really happy with it. So as I said, this this pattern does allow for the removal of the hot water bottle, and I'm going to demonstrate now. So I've got buttons on the back, which you can just about see there. I've just undone them. So these are kind of bigger shells, where you can actually slip the buttons in between some of the stitches. And then this, it's a little tight, but I didn't want the hot water bottles to be falling out. And there we go. So you can completely remove. Oh yeah, this is how you get in. So it is, it's still got water in. I haven't emptied it from the last time I used it. But yes, you can completely remove it. And that was exactly what I wanted. So it's made in two pieces. Let me get this back in, and then I'll talk about the construction. You start off with two pieces. You've got the front piece and the back piece. The front piece being the larger one with the flap that goes over the top, and then the back piece being the smaller one that kind of only goes halfway up. And then you start to work in the round once you get to the flap. There we go. So this back piece, this shorter one that finishes there, that's the piece I recommend you make first. Oh, hello, you okay? Yeah, I recommend you make that shorter piece first, and then you can start on this piece. What I tended to do, or what I recommended doing, was making the back piece first, then the front piece up to about here, and then sewing them together as you start this kind of overlap flap, because it gives you a little bit of a better idea of how it's going to look. You can try it. A warm water thingy, yes, a hot water bottle cover. Yeah, this was my first ever crochet pattern design, and this is the finished design. So yeah, once you get to this front bit, you kind of work in the round and then start to decrease up towards the slope of the hot water bottle. I wanted it to be shaped as well. I didn't want it to just be like a really angular. Hello. I agree, you know, I absolutely agree on these buttons. I got them, I'll show you a little bit closer up. They're kind of like a corky effect. It does look like they've been made out of cork. I don't know how well that's coming through on camera. I got them from a local haberdashery. I don't remember if they were any particular brand. I just remember looking at all the buttons and just going, like, you know, which ones kind of fit. I think I actually took some of the yarn in and I was like holding it up against the buttons. I mean, thankfully in a haberdashery nobody's going to blink twice at that. But yeah, I was kind of holding it up and I was like, you know, which buttons go the best with this design. But yeah, I didn't want something that was really angular. I wanted something that looked like it kind of shaped to the hot water bottle. And you know, I was really quite happy with this. It was really interesting as well. It's the first time I've ever worked with pattern testers, because it was my first ever pattern. And it was really awesome actually seeing all the different colour variations that everybody came up with. It's really exciting now as well when people buy it and then they make it and post the pictures. That's got to be one of the most exciting things about designing anything, is watching everybody post the pictures and seeing how they've kind of brought your pattern to life, the colours that they choose. Yeah, I absolutely love it. It feels like they've kind of given life to your little project. So the reason for the name, like I said, this one's called the Morwenna hot water bottle cover. I named this after I'd made it. There are some patterns where I know exactly what the name's going to be as I'm making it. This one was definitely an afterwards. So I kind of looked at it afterwards and thought, you know, what name does that look like? And with the colours of this, it was really giving me like beach cottage vibes. Like, this is exactly the kind of thing where if I was on holiday and it was kind of like a little bit cold and there's like a big window, and you know, you're looking out to like a stormy sea, I could really imagine cuddling up with that, just kind of keep warm. So I was getting really beachy vibes, and then I kind of started looking up names. So Morwenna is very seaside. That's exactly what I thought. Morwenna, there seems to be a bit of a disagreement on the internet. Some places say it's Welsh, some places say it's Cornish. I'm not going to start picking sides, but it means waves of the sea. So that's the name meaning. So whether it's Cornish or Welsh, it's probably some Celtic kind of origin. But yeah, it means waves of the sea. And I thought, yeah, actually, that is absolutely perfect, because I can totally imagine kind of cuddling this and watching the waves. So that was just perfect for me. And like I said, yeah, several people have made a Morwenna. It's been out, gosh, nearly 2 years now. Wow. Gosh, that's crazy. Yeah, it's been out nearly 2 years now. So there are several versions of Morwenna, and it's always really nice to see. I've had really positive feedback from people that have made it. And I use this so much, especially since it's been a little bit colder this week. We suddenly seem to have had a bit of a snap. Not like really cold. Isn't Morwenna a character from Merlin? No, that's Morgana. That's Morgana. Amouage is Arabic for waves. You know, that is a lovely name. So if I ever have another project, yeah, if I have anything else that reminds me of waves, Amouage. I'm really sorry if that's not pronounced right. There's every chance I'm butchering that, but I might have to look that up later and see how you pronounce that, because that sounds really nice actually. Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, if I make another way, that's the actor who plays God in Bruce. What? I'm pronouncing it okay. Thank you for clarifying that. I was really worried. It's like I could be just, you know, absolutely butchering this. Yeah, so we've had it's been a little bit colder this last week. Let's say not massively, but it's dipped into single figures. So, you know, not that it takes me, I don't really need much of an excuse, but I was like, I'm just gonna reach for the hot water bottle. Morgana free. Yeah, no, Morgana's the one from Merlin, and you've got Morgos as well. Doesn't have any hard Arabic letters. Yeah, that's the thing, is I wanted something that sounded kind of lyrical. I wanted something that sounded really gentle. Is it cold? It's a little bit. It's not massively cold, but it suddenly seems to have snapped a little bit. Yeah. It's a little colder than you might normally expect for September, although it's really annoying trying to get dressed in the morning, because, you know, you get up and it's single degrees and you put loads of layers on thinking, oh yeah, it's going to be really, really cold. And then by lunchtime it's 20 degrees and you're like, well, what do I do now? So yeah, trying to get dressed at the moment is very annoying. So yes, featured item of this podcast is the Morwenna hot water bottle cover, available to buy on my Ravelry, Etsy and Lovecrafts. I can't remember what I don't think there's a consistent price across all of them because different ones charge different VAT, but I think it's around £3.50. I think it's around £3.50 depending on the VAT differences in each website. So in terms of my whips for this week, my works in project, I have done some things on some whips. I have done some things, not all of them, but I've made some decent progress on the ones I have. The first one I'm going to show you is actually the one I've made the most progress on, which I will just get the picture up. There we go. It's the single malt sweater, which is the one I'm making for my dad for his birthday. If I can stop pulling the yarn out. So last time I needed to double check the length. Sorry, no, yeah, the works in project, that's what whip stands for. So I've actually finished the body. Yay! I have finished the body of the single malt sweater. You can see from my stitch marker where I was up to last time, and I did get a chance to measure it on him, and it really wasn't far off actually. I was quite proud of myself for the fact that I'd looked at that and gone, yeah, that's nearly there. So I only needed a couple more inches on the kind of main body of it before I started the hem. So that's very exciting. It means I feel like I'm finally getting somewhere. So the only thing left to do on this one is the sleeves. I didn't get to start the sleeves. I was winding up the new yarn cakes. It's you'd think, wouldn't you? But I couldn't remember how long you wanted it, and then when you put it on, it stretches that way a little bit, which means it shrinks that way. And I was like, oh, I don't know. So I put it on him, and I was very chuffed about how close I was. With the bottom of this, I got a little experimental. So with jumpers and things, anybody that knits will probably know that casting off, especially on something that's going to be a jumper with something that's quite tight fitted, you want a really nice stretchy cast off. I did have to ask him to measure himself, so I knew what size I needed. So my mum was on the measuring to make sure. Raiders lost. So yeah, knitters will know, especially if it's something that has a lot of negative ease, so if it's supposed to stretch to fit, you don't want those edges to be really tight, because then trying to get it on over your shoulders, over your head, is going to cause you no end of trouble. So the bottom of this, you can just about see it's in a 2x1 rib. So for every 2 knits there's a purl, 2 knits 1 purl, 2 knits 1 purl. And I was trying to find a really stretchy cast off for 2x1 rib, and I couldn't find anything. I found 2x2 ribs, I found 1x1, and I couldn't find anything for a 2x1 rib. And then I found a video from Very Pink Knits on YouTube, and it was it said it was a like super stretchy cast off, and it didn't say what kind of stitch it was for. And then in the video she said you can apply it to any stitch. And I've got to admit, I was like, oh, but can you? Is it going to work? So I watched it. I gave it the benefit of the doubt. Look at how stretchy this is. So that's kind of not... Yeah, well, that's what I thought. I thought, oh, is it really any? So that's unstretched. Look at that! That's so incredibly stretchy. I could not believe it. There are so many times I've cast something off thinking I've done it really loose, and then tried to get it on afterwards and been like, oh, this isn't working. And I can't believe how stretchy that is. So yeah, I think it's just called the Very Stretchy Cast Off by Very Pink Knits, but lots of Verys. And it basically, if you were on a knit stitch, you knit it through the back loop, and then you would knit it together through the back loop with the stitch that was on your left or your right needle. And then if you're purling, you would purl and then purl two. When you got it onto your right needle, you'd purl the two together. That's a terrible explanation. This is why I don't do tutorials. But I was very impressed. I'm literally sat there trying to picture it in my head. I was like, what did I do? I've got a very expressive face. I'd be terrible at poker. But I was really impressed actually. But with it being something I'd never done before, and not being confident that it would work on a 2x1 knit, I did put a lifeline in. Now, I'm notorious for not using lifelines. So for anybody that's not a knitter, when you're knitting and you've got kind of all your stitches on your needle, if you're about to do something that you're not confident on, or you're about to change a section, what you can do is you can put a thread basically along your needle and through the stitches, so it would lie flush with the needle, and it would be, you're not a knitter, and this thread would lie like under your needle, but it would be running through all your stitches, so that when you carry on knitting, that thread stays there, and then your needle would move up with your stitches. And that way, if you need to rip back, you can just take the needle out, rip the stitches out, but that thread will stop it from going any further. So it will catch the live stitches at a certain point, and you can't rip it back any further than that. So like I said, I never ever use lifelines, but in terms of casting off, my knitting knowledge and ability to botch fix things seems to abandon me when it comes to cast off and cast ons as well. How cute little balls of yarn would be when wouldn't they just, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do that little affiliation, I might have to get Sam on that, since he's my design person. But yeah, when it comes to cast-ons and cast-offs, something goes wrong in my brain, and I can't fix things if they go wrong. So I thought, yeah, you know what, at this time even I'm going to use a lifeline, so that if this cast-off does not work for 2x1, or you know, it's not as stretchy as it is promised to be, then at least that way I've got my lifeline, and I don't need to start trying to desperately salvage my hem. So I was very happy with this indeed. It's a little bit wibbly on the bottom because I have not blocked it. I'm going to wait until I've done the sleeves before I block it. I'm imagining this is going to block beautifully as well. This is in West Yorkshire Spinners. Yeah, West Yorkshire Spinners, the Croft. In the colours, the Shetland colours, that's the yarn label, and this is in Seafield. This is the colour. So because it's 100% wool, I'm expecting that this blocks beautifully. I think it's probably going to bloom quite a bit. It's going to fluff up, and I reckon it's going to be really, really warm. So I'm really excited to see how this used to live in Seafield. Oh, is it a place? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh. Well, apparently it's a colour as well. I think it's probably based on the sea part of it, because it's like a greeny blue. I'm not going to get sick of the knitting puns, ever. So yes, this single malt sweater update, it does seem to be on track for finishing in December. So that's always good. This is the one thing as well with like Christmas coming up, is just, you know, the amount of people that say, oh, you know, I'm definitely gonna make some Christmas presents this year, and then, you know, they say, oh, I'm gonna make it for everybody I love, and then they're like, yeah, okay, it cuts to December and you're like, I definitely only love 2 people. No, yeah, it is gonna have full length sleeves. I just haven't quite got to that bit yet. I've wound up the next ball, ready to start on the sleeves, so that is probably going to start on the next week. I'm just trying not to laugh at all these knitting puns that are appearing in the chat. You guys are terrible. So yeah, the sleeves I will be starting in the near future, and I'm hoping that they don't take too long as well, what with them being much smaller circumference. All right, next whip, I'm afraid, is a little disappointing for you guys. It's the portal blanket, and I've done nothing to it. The lovely scarf behind me. This one, I hope you do like it. I'm glad you do like it. It was on my Instagram. This is one of my own designs as well. This is my Cordelia shawl. This is one I finished not long ago. I think it came out in August. I can't remember the exact date, but I'm very glad you like it. Thank you very much. I'm very proud of that one. I just love the colours. You might be able to tell I'm a bit of a teal person. I love teal. Absolutely adore it. So let's get rid of single malt sweater. And the portal blankets. Sadly, yeah, I do definitely have a favourite colour. It's not even subtle. Cordelia shawl sounds like a 70s femme fatale. Oh, don't say that. I'm not going to be able to get that out of my head. So yes, the portal blanket. You can see I put a stitch marker with where I was up to last episode. Oh, that matches my necklace. Oh, I didn't notice that. I'm wearing a starfish necklace. So coordination. It was definitely on purpose. I put a little stitch marker where I was up to last time, and as you can see, I have gotten no further. I've done a lot of work on the sweater. It's not perfect. So yeah, I haven't progressed. For those of you who haven't heard about the portal blanket, this is it's kind of one that I've designed a little bit myself with the help of Stitch Fiddle, which is a free software that you can turn things into crochet patterns or cross stitch patterns. Yeah, I think the sweater does redeem this. I've done a lot of work on that sweater. So yeah, a lot of help with Stitch Fiddle, and I have done 2 squares of this so far. I've done this one here, this one with the pink heart in, and then I've done this one with the A in the middle, and I'm doing the cake now. So yeah, this is my portal square with a very disappointing update. However, to make up for it again, I have also done a lot of work on the Hibernate blanket. Now hang on, I'm going to need to get out the heavy lifting here because this thing is enormous. So where's the top? I can't even find the top. Where's the top? There's the top. So stitch marker for where I was last episode is there. You can just about see it in the fluff. And I've done a few rows. It doesn't look like much, but given that this is so enormous, 1 row is that long. So it may not look like much, but a lot of work has gone into this. And it means I'm nearly finished on this particular white stripe because I'm only going to the end of this ball. And this ball is starting to get rather small. So I'm definitely coming towards the end of this one. The plan, where's that coming from? Oh, I've got myself all tangled. What am I doing? There we go. So the plan for this, yeah, I'm really appreciating all of you in the comments. It is a massive workout. Honestly, the kind of the arm motions for this alone are crazy. So I'm mirroring the kind of the first edge. So you can see I've got kind of a darker grey, a thin grey stripe here, then a white one, then a thicker grey stripe. So on the other side, I'm kind of mirroring that. So I'm going to do a thick white stripe, then I'm going to do a dark grey stripe, and then a thin white stripe. So it kind of mirrors on the other side. So it just switches the colours. And I like that. So that's the plan. So I'm nearly done on the first stripe. I'm just going to go to the end of this ball, and then I'm going to do another paler grey, although it looks very brown on here. It's going to be a lighter grey thin stripe, and then yeah, quite excited for that. The penguin is cute. What penguin? Oh, that one. Oh, I couldn't figure out what you were on about. I was like, what penguin? Was there a penguin? So yeah, that's my screen cleaner. It's one of those microfiber things. I was genuinely like, have I made a penguin and forgotten about it? Yeah, it's kind of like a screen duster for my computer screen. He is a bit dusty right now because I cleaned my screen the other day, so I do need to give him a bit of a he's very well taken care of, and he's very appreciated. He sits up there and gets to watch the room. So yes, I have made some progress on this. I'm going to update my stitch marker, pop it on the end, so that if I do anything over the next week, it will at least look like I've done something. Oh, okay. Hello, streamer friends. I really appreciate you coming watching. Thank you so much. No, I don't happen to have a cat, but I do have a dog. I have a greyhound. She's called Penny, and she is beautiful, but she's not very smart. She doesn't come in here during streams, because she would get too excited, and she would try and lick the yarn, and people don't appreciate that. Doggo can. Maybe I'll have to get her on for a little hello at some point. I think I might have to. Just so at least you guys can meet her. Oh, I'm leaning on the blanket. So yes, that is a Hibernate blanket. Oh, I've still got the Portal blanket up as well. That is the Hibernate blanket as an update. I also, for the first time on this podcast, have a finished object. So let's all not fall over at once. I have finished something. I've had quite a lot of big projects recently. They've kind of been like ongoing ones, so I haven't really had anything that's been close enough to completion for me to show off. However, for those of you who were here last week, you may remember I did a dice roll. So a couple of weeks ago, one of my friends gifted me all the yarn from his late mother, including her unfinished projects, and asked if I would mind finishing them, and I have finished one of them. So I am so chuffed with this. It's so cute. I did a dice roll, and the one that the dice decided I would be finishing is this little guy with his wonky ears. I've promised I've sewn them on straight. I promise I have. How cute is that? How sweet. I'm afraid I don't know what the pattern is. I couldn't find a pattern. I did look through the ones that she gave me, but sadly I couldn't find one, so I did have to just improvise a little bit based on what she'd already done. But yes, I finished the little hippo, and he's so cute. Yeah, plushies and toys and things, they're a really, really awesome kind of way to do crochet. In fact, you'll get a lot of people that exclusively do them. There's a specific technique called amigurumi crochet, and they kind of turn out like this, and it's so cute. I've got a few books on amigurumi, but there are so many patterns online that you can get for them, and you can get some seriously cute things. Some of them are absolutely adorable. I don't think I have any of mine to... No, I don't have any pictures to show you currently. But yeah, I've actually not done an amigurumi one for a while. Not for any reason, I just have had other things. But this little hippo is finally finished. That's the thing as well, because I was just gifted these as the ones that sadly my friend's mum wasn't able to finish before she passed away. I've got no idea how long this has been in progress for. So I don't know when this started. I don't know who maybe she intended to give it to. But I'm very glad that I've kind of had the opportunity to finish him. Yeah, his nostril, it's so cute, his cute little nostrils, and you can just about see he's got little toes as well, little toes. In fact, that was quite funny. I very nearly sewed the head on the wrong way, and it wasn't until I saw the toes I was like, oh, let's just turn the head. That could have been a little awkward. His little toes, it's so cute. So yeah, I'm very excited to give this to my friend tomorrow. I did say that I've got no idea when I'm going to be able to kind of hand these toys over. I did say they will come in like dribs and drabs, but I just can't get over how cute that is. It's so adorable. I've also not used this kind of chenille style yarn before either. I know that a lot of people really like using it for amigurumi. After even just finishing this, I can see why. It's a really kind of nice, it's super soft. The stitches are really well defined. They're really easy to see, which makes sewing together really nice. If there's anything I hate about amigurumi, it's the sewing together. I don't mind the rest of it. I quite like the rest of it. But when it comes to sewing together, I'm a bit like, oh, do I have to? If there are any that I can make in one piece, that's it. I'll go for that one. Although I do suspect that this lady might have had the same aversion as me, because there are a lot that are so nearly finished apart from the sewing together. So like I feel that on like a spiritual level. So yes, the little teeny hippo is finished. Part of me wanted to give him a name, but then I thought, you know, it's not really mine. It's you know, it's my friend's, and you know, I've received him as a part finished. I'm just finishing them off to pass it on, so I don't really feel like I get to name him. But I'm very excited to hand him over tomorrow, and hopefully he loves it. I imagine he will. I think he'll be just very grateful that his mum's projects are starting to be finished off. But I can't get over that little face. It's like you said, the nostrils are just the cutest thing. Oh. So yes, first ever finished project that I've been able to show on the podcast. I would say that maybe it'll spur me on to do some more, but I really wouldn't hold your breath that I'll have finished anything else by next week. In a little bit, I am going to roll another dice. I've laid out eight of the unfinished projects on my floor, so I've got my 8-sided dice. I will roll later and decide which new teddy I will be tasked with completing next. I think that's how I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to roll the dice every time, and I'll use that as my way of deciding. Leave it a little bit more to chance, so that I don't start picking favourites and it's a little bit more random. But yeah, I just can't get over it. In fact, shall I have him stood here for the rest of the podcast? Can you stand up? A little bit. There we go. He can stand there and watch the rest of the podcast. Yeah, I know, right? Tell me you play D&D without telling you play D&D. I've got my 8-sided dice over here. Yeah, nobody that doesn't do role-playing games has an 8-sided dice. Yeah, I've got all my other ones over there, but I decided to pick out this one. The penguin is still. I'll tell you what, I'll clean him up for next time. I will dust him off. I said it's only because I used him the other day. I will dust him off ready for the next podcast, and then that way he's all nice and clean. I do feel like this is a good time for a little tea break. I am very thirsty and I've got some posh tea downstairs that I might try out. I've been very, very tempted to try it over the last couple of days. So I think I'm gonna break for a couple of minutes just while I make myself a drink, and then we will be back. So thank you for everybody that's been in the chat. I've been loving seeing all your comments and things. It's really exciting. Feel free to go and get yourself a lovely drink as well, and I will be back in about 5 minutes. See you in a sec. Hello, I'm back with my very nice tea. As I mentioned last week, I'm a big hot drinks fan. Although not coffee. I've tried so hard to like coffee. I just can't seem to force myself to like it. Maybe it's time to try again. So this time I have a drink from Tea and the Gang. I ordered some stuff for this for my friend's birthday, some like really nice tea. And when they sent it, they sent a couple of little samples. So I've been dying to try this one all week. This is it's called the Hipster. It's raspberry and mint herbal tea. I'm very intrigued. It's still like absolutely boiling hot right now. But very interesting. It smells amazing. But what I quite like about this is they also tell you, like, there's also brewing instructions, which sounds a little bit obvious. But for the tea connoisseurs out there, there are some teas that you can't brew at 100 degrees because it releases too many of the tannins, and then it makes the tea taste really bitter. So if you've ever tried to drink green tea and wondered why it tastes absolutely awful, it might be because it's too hot. So it does tell you as well what temperature these specific tea leaves are supposed to be brewed at. So quite interested in that. Yeah, if any tea company or hot chocolate company fancy sponsoring me, I'm available. I'm available for sponsorship from hot drink companies. So yes, I'm very intrigued to try this when it cools down. Hopefully it'll have cooled down before the end of the stream. Oh yeah, no, I can feel that on my face. That is still far too hot. For the last part, I did think I would talk through some of my yarny acquisitions of the last week. I don't always have acquisitions. Like I said, I try not to buy my huge mug. Yeah, I don't do half measures when it comes to mugs. And I really like this one. It says, sometimes on the way to the dream you get lost and find a better one. And I really liked that one. Oh well, thank you so much for coming and watching. Thank you for and your comments as well. Thank you very much. Enjoy your food. Yeah, I don't always have yarny acquisitions. I try to only buy yarn when I have a specific project in mind. Oh, hello. I try to only buy yarn when I have a specific project in mind. I do have some projects in mind for this, but they're Christmas ones, so I'm not going to tell you what they are. I'm just going to show you the yarn. So there is this one. This is Drops Snow. I can't remember what the colour is. What's the colour? Colour 57. There you go. So I don't know how well that's coming through on there. That's a navy. It's very, very dark on camera, but that is a navy colour. And I have, how many do I have? I can't even remember. 5. I have 5 of those. It's a really chunky yarn. So I'm hoping that this mystery project will work up really nice and quickly. It is 100% wool. Is it 100% wool? Yes, it is 100% wool. Look at me. Oh, I'm dropping it everywhere. So yes, this is Drops Snow. I haven't used Snow before. I do love Drops yarn. I've got a lovely kind of almost like a shrine here to Drops, which one day will turn into a cardigan. I have the cardigan in mind. I know exactly which cardigan I want to make, and one day it will be made. But I adore Drops yarn. One of my favourite sweaters that I've ever made is in Drops. But that's a cold weather sweater, so it's probably not going to show up for another few weeks because it's so warm. Like if I was to wear that in here now, I would be drenched in sweat. It's very much a winter one. I'm really looking forward to breaking out all the really cozy sweaters. So I have 5 balls of that one, and I also have some Cascade 220. Now I've heard a lot about this. There are a lot of people that really recommend this yarn, and I've been kind of very intrigued to try it out. So it's 100% Peruvian Highland wool, and it's in quite this really nice kind of grey colour. So I've got 3 skeins of that, and you can really tell that it's 100% wool because it smells really fluffy and really cozy. And I know that sounds very odd, but I do love the smell of yarn, like the smell of the really kind of the really woolly yarns. They always just smell so nice. like kind of foamy and cuddly, and like you can just tell that it's going to be really nice and warm. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that one. This is a worsted weight yarn as well, so this one isn't going to work up quite as quickly as the Drops Snow one, but this feels really nice. And like I said, I've been dying to try this for ages, so if I really like it, there is a chance I will use it again. I can't remember whether this is superwash as well. I can't remember. It doesn't say. Oh no, it's hand wash at 30. Maybe it's not superwash. I can't remember whether it's superwash or not. I'll look it up later. But yeah, the first podcast episode after Christmas is going to be so full of all these projects that I've just refused to talk about for weeks. So I'm going to have to film like a little segment before all these people get sent the presents, so that I can at least show you them instead of just showing you the pictures of them. Yeah, I'll have to do a little segment one. So yeah, that is my yarny acquisitions for this particular week. So I've done quite a bit. All right, I'm gonna sit. I've done a lot of talking. I'm gonna do another row of this, I think, and just breathe. It's been a very busy. I want to say it's been a busy week. It's only been 2 days. I don't know how this is a short week. It doesn't feel like a short week. Not at all. So yeah, I really appreciate everybody that's come on and watched and kind of joined in with the comments. It's been really nice to meet you all and to see you, and I've really appreciated all the yarny puns in the comments. Those have been kind of funny. I've had to really try not to keep laughing at all the yarny puns. I'm gonna have to go back and reread them all, because there were some quality puns in there. So yeah, this what I didn't say as well was this blanket has been kind of in process for almost a year, and I did a big segment in last week's podcast all about procrastination when crafting, and I was quite proud of my little self. I did a lot of thinking, and had some thoughts, and I think I kind of started to nail down some of my procrastination habits. This one not so much. This one I have very good reasons for procrastinating on, and as it was mentioned in the comments earlier that this one looks like a bit of a workout. It can be a bit of a workout, and I sprained my wrist very badly nearly a year ago, and this yarn and this hook and this project are just big enough to irritate it ever so slightly when I'm crocheting it. So I do have to do this in short bursts sometimes. I mean, with it being such a chunky yarn, when I do a row or two, it's very obvious that I've done a row or two, and you know, it gains a good couple of inches just from 1 or 2 rows. So it's quite nice in that respect, but it is really annoying if it makes my wrist niggle a little bit, and then I have to put it down for like a week. So as fast as I thought it was going to work up, it's not been without its challenges, but it's very nearly done, and I'm really looking forward to finishing this and sending it off to its recipient. Although I've got to be honest, I don't know how I'm going to get this sent off. This I might have to like vacuum seal it in the package or something, because I'm just imagining rocking up to the post office with this, because the recipient lives nowhere near me. It's not even, you know, it's not a quick nip up the road. It's a good few hours drive, like just like one way. So yeah, I might have to vacuum pack this and then stuff it into a bag. This is going to be one of those where, you know, the person it's for opens it and the bag just bursts open and it's just like blanket just straight away. But as I was saying last week, when you make blankets, you kind of accidentally test them as you're making it. I mean, just by the nature of what they are, you know, this is so enormous that I do end up using it as a blanket when I make it. You know, you can't help it. it's too big to knot. So I can confirm it's lovely and warm. And it's made using burlap blanket yarn as well, which I believe is 100% acrylic, so hopefully it should be nice and easy to take care of. Yeah, I'm still figuring out how to transport it, how to get it there. That one might have to do some more thinking. I mean, luckily the person knows it's coming, so they're not just going to rock up to this enormous package on their doorstep and be like, what on earth is this? So at least they'll know it's coming. But I was hoping to have finished it before the cold months started to set in, so that, you know, they could use it in the cold months. But given how close it is to completion, I'm hoping that at least some of the cold months. I'm hoping that it'll get there by... Oh, see, now now I'm at risk of calling myself out here. If I say a time, am I going to have to stick with it? I'm hoping that it's done this year. Yeah, you know what, I'll say it. I'm hoping that it's done this year before Christmas, so that I can get it sent, and then over the Christmas period they can enjoy it and snuggle up under it. That's it now. I've said Christmas, and I've said it live on the internet, so I might have to keep to that. Can you imagine having to keep to my own deadline for a project I started nearly a year ago? But yeah, I mean, apart from anything else, it's also huge. Like, you know, my craft room's not that big. It's not like a shoebox, but it's not that big, and this blanket does take quite a lot of space. So it's going to feel like I have so much more room when I finish this. It's not the only reason I'm looking forward to finishing it. I don't like leaving things unfinished. I'm very much a completionist at heart. I like to get everything finished. It makes me feel like I have my life together. Oh, right, there we go. A row of that done, which I think leaves us in perfect time to decide what toy is going to be next on my list to complete. Is my tea cool enough yet? Oh, that's quite nice. A bit floral, but yeah, that is quite nice actually. There we go. What was it called? The Hipster. I'm gonna have to try these little tester ones and then see which ones I might want to buy in future. All right, so I have my potentials laid out. I'm not going to show you because there's a load of mess behind it, and then I'll have to admit to the mess that's on that side of the camera. But I've got 8 laid out there. I didn't really look at what they were. I just kind of picked 8 random ones out of the bag. There's not too many. I think there's only 2 or 3 that's left in the bag. But I'm going to... Right, that's 1, 2... Yeah, I'm going to go along. All right, ready? Oh, number 1. Okay, number 1 is this one. So this was the one. Is that the one? Yes, it is. This is the one I was convinced was a duck until I found the ears. Yeah, crit fail. Oof. Yeah, I was convinced that this one was a duck, and then I found some ears that she'd made. So I still haven't figured out exactly what it is, but it's not a duck. Although it did come with its own little yarn needle, which, you know, absolutely valuable. She has started to sew this. I'm going to call it a nose. I don't feel like I can call it a bill because it's clearly not a duck if it's got ears. But yeah, that was my original thought. So we've got a head that's mostly finished. That I keep going to call it a bill. That nose just needs sewing on. It is very cute. It is very cute. Part of me just wanted it to be a duck because I thought it would be really cute if it was, but I'm going to stick with the intentions that she had for them. So the head is very nearly done. That nose area just needs sewing on. I've got some little legs. They are finished. I can only assume these are ears. I mean, I don't know what else they would be. If I put the ears on, it suddenly starts to look bearish. Which way? That way. It does start to look like a little bear, or maybe monkey. Is it a monkey? I might have cracked it. I might have cracked it, guys. I think it might be a monkey. That does look a little bit... I think that's it. Oh, you know what? I've been staring at that for about 3 weeks, trying to figure out what it is. I think it's a monkey, guys. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, ears a little lower. That seems to do it. Okay. Well, that's a relief. And I thought it was a duck. Right, well, okay, monkey. I'm really glad that we've sorted that, because I would have just made that and just gone, yeah, whatever. But I suppose that does explain the slightly noodly arms, because if it's a monkey, I suppose you'll have a little bit more to do. So if we did that, and then maybe, yeah, I'm gonna go with monkey. It's now a monkey, guys. So this one's very nearly finished as well. So I don't think this is going to take too much. This wasn't even the yarn that was in the bag with it, but I found this in there, and it looked so much like the yarn that she seems to have used for this, that, I mean, if it's not the same yarn, then it's extraordinarily close. So I did put it in just in case I needed any spare, but actually I'm not sure I do. I think this is just an assembly. I think this is just an assembly job as well. But I'm so glad we figured out that's a monkey, because I'd have just stuck the ears on in any old place. And I can only imagine figuring out that that was a monkey after I'd finished it, sewn it up and handed it over, and then gone, should I? So, okay guys. Well, at least if one thing's come out of this podcast, it's that I figured out that that was a monkey. Oh, right, okay. I feel like that is a successful brain moment for today. That might be my successful brain moment for the week, if I'm honest. If the last few days are anything to go by, I think that's my peak for the week. It's just all downhill from here. All right, so next one is a monkey, and then my little hippo is gonna be returned tomorrow to the person who requested that I finish these. Oh, I cannot tell you how glad I am that we figured out that that's a monkey. I can't believe I thought it was a duck. I mean, in my defence, that did look very Bill-like. I think it's the colours as well. I saw the yellow and the little white kind of thing, and I immediately was like, yes, this is a duck. Although now maybe I should make a duck. Maybe that should be the next one I make, because that was very cute when I thought it was a duck. And it's kind of made me want a duck now. So maybe the next one I decide to make of my own back, it'll be after I've finished all these, because I've kind of committed to these, so I feel like I should definitely finish them. But yeah, maybe when I make my next one, I'll make a duck. And I can use this yellow. That was the one thing he did say, is that any of the yarn, he gave me her entire stash, and he said, you know, any yarn that's left over, it's pretty much just mine to do with what I like. That is my payment for finishing off all these little toys for him. So my yarn stash has increased quite a lot in taking on this project. But any that I don't want to use, I can always give to my Stitchcraft club, my knitting and crochet club at school. You know, they're always in need of new yarn. And it's not like we get terrible amounts of funding to do it. You know, schools funding, that doesn't happen. So at least I've got some yarn that they can use for their own little projects as well in school. Well, it is 8:05, so I have been yapping away for a good hour now. Thank you so much to everybody that's watched and joined in the comments. I really appreciate it. It's been so nice to have you. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I have enjoyed it. And I am going to go and chill out for a little bit. for the rest of my evening. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you also have a lovely rest of your evening, and I will see you next week. Bye.